A bit of an impromptu video. My mate Geo, we were on the phone having a chat, and we said, right, do you know what? Let's do a couple of videos. So we're doing one now on this channel. We're going to discuss Lingard, I believe, and maybe a little bit of a naughty Rio as well on the main channel as well. But today on this one, we're going to be chatting Jarrod Bowen. If you've watched my two terrible videos on Sam Johnson and, of course, Aaron Ramsey, when there was really nothing to discuss, I did promise you a Bowen video, and I thought, you know what, let's have a chat about it with Geo anyway. Also, it's worth pointing out that Geo last night uploaded a video about some surprise packages. I'm not talking about Father Christmas. What were you talking about, Geo?
Jarrod Bowen being the surprise package. Not my ball package, but we'll get on to that in a minute.
We will.
But yeah, I was just saying that I think Jarrod Bowen being the most surprising player for me, in a positive way, of course, this season, because I expected Ben Rama to do what he's done. Fornals probably isn't doing as well as I would have hoped in the last few games in particular. But Jarrod Bowen sort of become one of the first names on the team sheet for me. He needs to score more goals, but I have faith that'll come because certainly at Hull City in particular, he used to ban them in left, right and centre. So goal scoring is something he's always been good at. And I think he just needed that first goal in order to get off the mark a little bit. He's got it now against Brentford, and it's just a pity the international breaks come because I'd have liked to have seen him go on and gather that momentum a little bit. So it sort of stopped him in his tracks. But saying that, he's got a bit of momentum off the pitch. So he's scoring on the pitch, he's scoring off the pitch. And I'm looking forward to seeing Jarrod Bowen on Sunday at Goodison Park.
He is, you're right, he's scoring off the pitch, isn't he? We'll leave that for the moment. Did you hear that actually, despite him being busy, David Moyes has given him 2 weeks off. And he said, no, I want to go back I want to carry on training. I mean, I think he's a fit lad anyway. And we heard he spent the summer training on his uncle's potato field or whatever. You don't know how much of these sort of stories are embellished, do you? So we know he takes his fitness seriously, but he's also smart. I think these are really good additional brownie points with David Moyes. If you're going to turn around and say, no, it's all right, I'll come in, I'll do the hard yards. You just know he's going to get in the team straight away when we start playing again, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a pivotal point for Jarrod Bowen in his career, actually, not just at West Ham, but in his actual career. I feel he could have been in the England squad. He's not. It'd be a bit of a blow for him. But you'd imagine Moyes would be putting his arm around him and saying, listen, you replicate this form. There's another international break in November. You replicate your club form again. There's every chance Gareth Southgate's going to have to eventually look at you. Sancho's in there, despite not doing it for the club. Saka's in there, and while he's looked good for Arsenal in the latter stages prior to the international break, you do feel there might be an opening for Jarrod Bowen if he had goals to his game. And of course, he's been linked to big clubs as well. And I just think that not quite world at feet kind of thing, but I do think Jarrod Bowen's in a really good position right now. He's impressing all the right people, bar Gareth Southgate, and you just never know. I think he's only going to get better and better, actually.
I do. I mean, as I say, I sort of had this video planned anyway, and I sort of knew what I wanted to say about it. And it was really to do with these constant links that he's now getting to more prestigious clubs than West Ham, if you like. But clubs, I would have thought, traditional top 4 clubs, Champions League clubs or whatever. And I think you've spoken about England. I'll speak about that in a minute. But certainly when he joined, if there was any suggestion of that, I wouldn't have had it. I wouldn't have believed it. Not because I thought he was crap. Not at all. I thought we were buying what it said on the tin, literally. A striker from Hull, who was their best player, probably the only reason they'd been scoring goals and doing well as staying up to that point. We'd paid £20 million for a championship player. He came in, but there was a very, very different... when you were listening to David Moyes doing his press conference, what he was saying about Bowen was very different from what he was saying and doing with Souček. Because if you remember, he was saying, we can't expect a lad from Hull or from the Championship to save us from relegation. You remember that? That's very much what he was saying. And he was easing him into the team. And we were trying to look for snippets because at this point, we actually got to see Jarrod Bowen before the world went mad and lockdown and all the rest of it. And he seemed to be making these sort of ghosting runs into the box. And it looked like there was going to be some there's some quality to his play. I wanted to see more, certainly, but Moyes was being cautious. Souček came in. I know it's a different position, but Souček took all of the plaudits, a lot of the attention. So the attention was off Jarrod Bowen. I think you come to the end of it and you think, okay, what with Jarrod Bowen and with Antonio and Ogbonna and Souček, he was one of the component parts that kept us up. It was a successful signing, but I still didn't think at that point what we're doing is we're seeing a world-class player or anything like that. I don't think he's world-class, but you know what I mean? I still thought, okay, good championship player. And I think there's always been someone at West Ham to take the limelight off of him. I think Ben Rama came in and people were more excited about Ben Rama than Bowen. You can understand why. He's all tricks and flicks and he's a really exciting player to watch, isn't he? I think Lingard comes in and again, the emphasis isn't on Bowen, and you almost got this Fornals resurgence as well. And Bowen is just always there, chipping away in the background and not taking any of the big Hollywood style attention, really. And now I look at it, and when he was linked the other day with Liverpool for the first time, I thought, understudy to Salah. I can see that.
Yeah, I've always sort of felt he would do okay at Liverpool only because I felt in the summer he was linked to replace Shaqiri, and I thought he's an upgrade on Shaqiri, so it'll work out. But the more I've seen him this year, I actually think it'd be a bad move for him. Before I thought it would have been in the summer, I thought it'd be a good move because I thought last season he was good. I think he's really stepped up this season. I think there's a big improvement between Jarrod Bowen this season so far compared to last season. He's the most sub player in the Premier League last year. Regularly on the hour mark, 65 minutes, you'd see someone ready to come on. And you just knew Jarrod Bowen was going to be hooked. And regularly he was. And it'd be Sonny Benrahma that came on to replace him. No longer the situation, because there were rumours last season that Jarrod Bowen had some sort of issue, like medical issue, that we just didn't know about too much, and that stopped him being able to play 90 minutes kind of thing. If that is true, we can only assume that's been resolved because he's now playing 90 minutes regularly as well. It just seems better this year. But going back to the big club thing that you said, I think he's too good to be on the bench for Liverpool now. I do. I think this is why I'm saying I think it's a big point in his career. I think West Ham's probably the right club for him, but he is playing week in, week out. And if he ever does get a move to a Champions League club, it'll be to go there and play regularly rather than to be an understudy for a player. And if he ever did move, he'd have to make sure he got it right. He would really need to get it right because it'd be easy for him to go somewhere and do exactly what Shaqiri's done, which is just disappear off the face of the earth in football, really, where you don't really play that often. But the difference between someone like Jarrod Bowen and someone like Shaqiri is, regardless of game time at club, Shaqiri kept getting called up for Switzerland. He was still good enough to play for Switzerland. Sure. Jarrod Bowen doesn't have that. He doesn't have the international thing to fall back on. We're seeing it with Lingard at the minute. Not getting enough minutes for Man U, but still enough to keep him in the England squad. Here's Bowen playing every minute for West Ham, performing well, perhaps not hitting the numbers in terms of assists and goals, but still not enough to get him in the England team. Saying that, maybe that's part of the reason why a big move would be tempting to Jarrod Bowen if should anyone ever come knocking. But I wouldn't like to see him go. I think Benrahma is a better player.
Yeah.
But I think Jarrod Bowen is possibly a better team player, if you like. I think very rarely does he have a crap game, Jarrod Bowen. Very, very rarely does he have a poor game. But this season, he seems to be having a lot more man-of-match contention games than he did last season, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I do just want to briefly touch on the England thing. Before I do, Geo, there's something we need to discuss with everybody. So I'm just putting a little bit more light on the subject here.
Okay,
we have...
please don't.
So, absolutely. There's something I need to... no, it's okay. It's okay. Right, basically, we are going to promote... I've just dropped one. I've got a lovely box full of goodies here, Geo. An absolutely lovely box full of goodies. Unfortunately, I've actually dropped the main part and the main goodie part of it. Basically, you know what this is?
Well, I do.
You do. This? Oh, it's a lightsaber. It's actually... It says on here, it's for trimming your dinkle, right? Your dinkle hair. Let's be fair. I've not done it yet, but I have used it on my facial hair, and it's very, very good. They've given us a free pair of pants. You get a free pair of pants as well, which I've not used as yet. I'm saving these for a special occasion, right? And you've got things like... See that? See what it says? Reviver.
Yeah, Reviver. The other one's the better one.
You like this one better?
Yeah.
Which is the Preserver. It's actually deodorant for your Niagaras. Now, I've got to be honest with you. I'll put it on there. No, look, this is the men's grooming tool, basically. They've marketed it like you just trim your nether regions. Actually, it's a bloody good beard trimmer as well. It's very, very good. They're excellent. I've actually put my money where my mouth is, for want of a better phrase, because the thing I've just dropped on the floor is actually, if I could find it, well, I'm not going to find it now because I've dropped it on the floor and the whole place is falling down. I've actually gone and bought the nostril thing, the weed trimmer. But anyway, the point is, these things are bloody good. At Hammers Chat, we've got you 20% off. So if you go onto the website, this is all called by a company called Manscaped. Manscaped. See it? So what you've got to do is go to uk.manscaped.com, make your purchases there, and in the discount code, if you put in Hammers Chat, all one word, you get 20% off. And as I say, I've actually put my money where my mouth is because I went and bought, I'm still looking for it on the floor. It's somewhere on the floor. I went and bought the beard trimmer. And, sorry, not the beard trimmer, the nostril trimmer. It's very, very good. I've got it here. There you go. I'm going to prove it now. There it is. Stick it up your router.
And your ears. It goes in your lugs and all.
It does. And up your bum. No, it's not really. Don't stick it up your bum. Whatever you do, don't stick it up your bum. But there's a discount code for you there. Any product. And if Hammers Chat manage to sell 10 products, they'll become our sponsor. There you go.
Happy days. Anyway, enough talking about that, balls. We'll get back to talking bollocks about Jarrod Bowen again.
Okay. I'm not sure about the England thing, by the way. I'm not sure about it at all. Because there's just too many wide players. He's not as good as Saka. He's not as technically good as Sancho. That being said, is like I mentioned about West Ham, how he just kept on chipping away. We know that Southgate likes that type of thing. You've seen there's times when Henderson shouldn't have got in the team. There's times when the most talented player doesn't necessarily get in the team because Southgate likes the reliability. He likes to know exactly what he's getting. So in terms of talent, I think there's better players. I think there's better wide players. But so for that reason, I don't think he'll get in. But I do think it's one of those that if he ever did get in a squad, I think he'd probably stay in because I think Southgate would like what he saw. And you know what he's like? Sometimes Southgate plays players out of position and stuff like that because he knows what he's going to get out of him. And I think if he saw Bowen, he would think, actually, I know exactly what I'm going to get out of this guy. I'm going to get a shift. You're going to get the same level of performance from Bowen every single game. And I think with someone like Sancho, you're either going to see one of the best wide players in the world, or you might even notice him. You might think, oh, crikey, I forgot he was on the pitch. That's my thing with Bowen and international football, basically.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, if I personally wouldn't have the England team per se, I just think he's unfortunate not to get called up, especially when the national manager, every national manager does it, trots out the whole, I will pick players on form. I think there's a massive argument there that Jarrod Bowen deserves to be in the England team ahead of other people around him, kind of thing. The one good thing is he sort of plays on the right compared to the left. I think the left is very heavy for England. Yeah. Sterling, Rashford. Then there's one or two players that can't get in the team, like Harvey Barnes, especially. He's banging form for Leicester at the minute and deserves to be in there as well. But over on the right, I think it's a little bit lighter. And I think that is his sort of opening to get in there if he does. But I think he's got the rest of the season to make a claim for it and try and get into that team ahead of the World Cup next November. I do think the World Cup being in November, as much as I'm against it and I'm against where it's being held, I do think it presents some opportunity for certain players to maybe make a late surge, if you like, to get into that England team. I think Jarrod may be one of those players. Unfortunately, may have to move in order to capitalise on it. But I do think there is one or two players that come November next year, we're going to say, you wouldn't have gone into that England team if it was in the summer. Just like the Euros has just passed, there were certain players that wouldn't have gone to the Euros a year ago should COVID not have happened. Jack Grealish being one of them. Grealish probably wouldn't have got in a year ago. a year later, suddenly you've got players that are in that England team. I think we'll see the same again. November to the summer, I think it'll be a big difference. But anyway, Jarrod Bowen.
I've got a question for you then, just quickly.
Yes.
Let's say Liverpool came in. Okay, so what did Jota cost? Jota cost £45 million. What?
Similar.
55?
35. I thought it was it 30? I thought it was 35.
I thought it was 45. Whatever. Let's call it. I'll tell you what. Let's
40.
call it. Let's call it full. No, let's call it 45. And here's my question. Really, would you sell Jarrod Bowen for 45 million?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. There you go.
But my mentality to sell players is a lot different from most West Ham fans, I feel, because I'm open to selling anybody. I include Rice, Sufal,
but you clearly think we could replace him with a comparable player for that money. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't say it.
Could we? Yes. Will we? Not sure. I think the proof will be in the pudding of Nikola Vlasic, actually, because we've spent 30 million on him. If he comes good, then the answer to can we replace Bowen is yeah, we've just done it technically.
Yeah.
But should he not do well, then no, we've spent 30 million and wasted it. So probably not.
Hopefully not. Yeah, hopefully we haven't. Right, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, one and all, for joining us. We will be back. Go and check out the other video. Go and check out Geo's video from yesterday over on the main channel, and keep an eye out for myself and Geo talking about Jesse Lingard's £15 million price tag and a very, very naughty Rio Ferdinand.